"I'm giving you a final notice," barked the tall man in a cheap suit, holding a clipboard, like he was about to auction off my whole life on the front lawn. 7 days to vacate this property. HOA board's orders. And there I was, standing on my porch in nothing but sweatpants and a wrinkled old army t-shirt, coffee mug still in hand, not even fully awake. You ever notice how the people who tell you to get out are always the ones who can't wait to take your place? That's the kind of morning I was having. Right behind him stood the HOA's royal entourage, 2 more board members, including the infamous Karen. Now, Karen was a local legend. Oversized sunglasses, even when it rained. Thought she was the queen of Arizona, ruled the neighborhood like it was Buckingham Palace. "What exactly am I being evicted from?" I asked, doing my best to sound calm. Though, honestly, I just wanted my damn breakfast. "From this ranch," the clipboard man sneered, already listing off violations. "Non-approved fencing, wrong paint on the barn, too many animals, and," he grinned, "unauthorized solar panels." That's a big one. I took a sip, real slow. "You do realize I'm not part of your HOA, right?" I said. Karen just laughed, a sharp practice cackle. "Oh, we expanded last month. You're in it now, sweetheart." And right then, it hit me. These people had absolutely no idea. Not only was I not under their HOA, but I actually owned the land their beloved HOA building was sitting on, the same building where they held their precious meetings and planned world domination via community newsletters. The deed was sitting safe and sound in a fireproof box inside my house. But did I tell them? No. Sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is smile and say, "Good to know. I'll look into it." They strutted off, proud as peacocks, probably scribbling more fines onto their clipboards. I just watched, couldn't help but grin. But let's back up for a second. Let me tell you how a guy like me ended up in a mess like this. My name's Mark Dalton, 43, retired U.S. Army logistics, 20 years of eating sand, learning patience, and moving things nobody wanted to move. When I finally got out, all I wanted was quiet. So I bought myself 45 acres just outside a little Arizona suburb. The views were endless, the nights were silent, and for the first time in years, I could sleep without keeping one eye open. I built a simple house, started raising horses, planted a garden. Nothing fancy. No neighbors in sight. No rules except the ones I set. It was perfect, until, like always, someone decided paradise needed improvement. A year later, the developers showed up, big trucks, hard hats, the whole progress parade. The land next to mine became Hidden Pines Estates. Luxury homes, perfect lawns, security gates. With them came the HOA. The 3 scariest letters in suburbia. At first, it didn't bother me. My driveway was separate, my property lines clear as day. But ego, like weeds, always finds a way in. It started with letters, requests about my fence color, suggestions to limit my livestock, then warnings about my solar panels not fitting their community energy policy. I ignored them. Well, that just wound Karen up tighter than a jack-in-the-box. She started showing up at my gate, taking pictures, frowning in my truck, called it an eyesore to my face. Once, she left a note in my mailbox that read, "You'd be surprised what a bulldozer can fix." Real neighborly, right? I tried the legal route, but unless she was actually on my land, the sheriff couldn't do much. So I got smart. Cameras everywhere, night vision, all feeding straight to my phone. You want to make my life hell? Good luck doing it without a spotlight on you. The day she crossed onto my property, filming and ranting about safety hazards, I snapped, lawyered up, sent a cease and desist. But the HOA just doubled down. And now, here they were, telling me to get out. Only, what they didn't know could fill a book. Years ago, before Hidden Pines even had a name, I'd bought 5 extra acres next to my ranch. Didn't do much with it. Figured maybe I'd use it for horse trails one day. When the developers built their clubhouse and HOA office, they assumed the land was part of their deal. Wrong. Their title company goofed up. They built the whole glass and fountain monstrosity right on my land. And I let them, because sometimes the best revenge is letting folks dig their own hole. But now, eviction notices? Time for the gloves to come off. I went inside, poured myself another coffee, pulled out the original deed from my safe. Not a copy, the real, stamped deal. They picked the wrong guy. I started drafting a letter, one for every Hidden Pines resident. Dear neighbors, you may not know me, but I own the land under your HOA headquarters. But before I could even hit print, I caught something on my security feed. 3 HOA board members back at my gate, carrying chains and bolt cutters. They cut my lock and marched straight up my driveway like they owned the place. Karen, still wearing those damn sunglasses, announced, "We're here for an inspection. You didn't respond to our notice, so we took initiative. HOA regulations allow surprise visits." I planted myself between them and my barn, phone in hand, already live with the sheriff's office. "You broke my lock," I said. "You're trespassing." All on camera. Karen scoffed, but the deputy on speaker was crystal clear. "Units are en route, Mr. Dalton. Please don't engage." Karen's confidence started to crack. When the deputies pulled up, she tried to argue about community codes and her right to govern. Deputy Owens was having none of it. "Ma'am, this property is not under HOA jurisdiction. And based on this footage, breaking and entering. Citations all around. And a warning, come back and you'll be arrested." As they left, Karen stomping off like a toddler denied her juice box, I realized something. This wasn't just petty. This was a campaign. And I was done playing defense. That night, I finished my letter to the neighborhood. I attached copies of the deed, aerial maps, and a notarized statement from my lawyer. Next time your HOA tries to bully someone, ask them what land they actually control. I hand-delivered over 200 letters the next morning. By sunset, the whole neighborhood was buzzing. Some people apologized. One woman, Lisa, brought me a pie. But the best part? The HOA had to hold an emergency meeting on a neighbor's patio because their headquarters was now officially off limits. And just when I thought things might settle, someone cut the power to my barn at 2 a.m. Horses screaming, smell of smoke. Someone threw a flare into my hay storage. I barely stopped the fire. Cops came. Security footage caught a silhouette slipping through the trees with a gas can. Deputy Owens didn't mince words. This was no accident. That night, shotgun across my lap, floodlights blazing, I realized I tried to live peacefully, but someone was out for blood. The next morning, I took every shred of evidence to my lawyer, Evelyn Grant. Ex-military, sharp as a tack. "This is arson," she said, scanning the report. "If we tie this to the HOA, we'll bury them." We filed a new lawsuit. Criminal trespass, land theft, conspiracy. Here's where the twist comes in. That afternoon, a neighbor showed up, Greg Walker, retired surveyor. "Got your letter," he said, "and I've got something you need to see." He laid out old surveys, proving the developer never had rights to build that clubhouse. "I tried to warn them, but Karen wouldn't listen," he said. "You're a better neighbor than any of them." He handed me the documents, and I sent them straight to Evelyn. Our case was bulletproof now. But life doesn't wait for lawsuits. That night, a storm rolled in. Arizona monsoon, rain pounding, lightning everywhere. Around 1:30 a.m., a bolt hit a tree near the clubhouse. Or so I thought. Sirens screamed, smoke lit up the night. By the time firefighters arrived, half the HOA building was gone. At first, people blamed the storm, until the sheriff found accelerant in a sliced power box. Not lightning, arson. Again, Karen, eyes wild, accused me, screaming in the street, blaming the angry rancher next door. Phones came out, neighbors whispered. But my cameras told a different story. Footage of me at home all night, tea in hand. Investigators confirmed it. Whoever did it had a key. Then came the real blow. The HOA's insurance claim was denied. They didn't own the land. Evelyn called me, laughing. They finally checked the deed. "Guess whose name is on it?" "Mine," I said, unable to keep a straight face. A few days later, Evelyn received a packet from a whistleblower. Emails between HOA board members, Karen included. One subject line, removing the obstacle. If we can't get Dalton out legally, maybe it's time we encourage him to leave another way. A payment from HOA funds to Gary, the bolt cutter guy. Everything was there. Greg, the neighbor who'd helped me before, was the whistleblower. He'd watched Karen's reign for years and decided enough was enough after the barn fire. You let kids ride horses. You donate eggs to the food bank. You're the neighbor everyone wishes they had, he told me, shaking my hand. With the evidence in hand, the sheriff opened a criminal case. Conspiracy, arson, attempted intimidation. I called a few old Army friends to keep an eye on the ranch while things got hot. Sure enough, Gary tried one last time, caught red-handed, gas can and all. Within hours, a warrant was issued for Karen. She ran, but didn't get far. Arrested in a Flagstaff motel, the image of her in cuffs going viral in the Hidden Pines Facebook group. The Queen Bee dethroned. And here's the final kick. Karen's lawyer offered me $1.2 million for the land under the clubhouse to make all this go away. I nearly spit out my coffee. Evelyn just said, no. Now you own the story. Let them burn. But I wasn't out for revenge. I called a town meeting and told everyone I was donating the land, where the clubhouse stood, to the local veterans nonprofit. A new community center, open to all. No strings, no boards, just a place for folks to be neighbors. That night, for the first time, Hidden Pines felt like a community. Of course, Karen couldn't let it go. She filed a lawsuit against me for defamation and emotional distress. The local news picked it up. She played the victim on TV, neck brace and all, telling sob stories about the militia rancher next door. So people stopped waving. Kids canceled riding lessons. It hurt more than I cared to admit. But the truth has a way of burning brighter than any fire. Greg's niece, Savannah, a journalist, filmed my story, interviewed me, Greg, Deputy Owens, Lisa with the pie. The video went viral. 2 million views in 2 days. The tide turned overnight. Pies on my porch, thank you letters, veterans calling from across the country. Finally, the district attorney charged Karen with arson, intimidation, and conspiracy. The court date was set. The day of the trial, the room was packed. Prosecution rolled out the footage, the emails, Greg's testimony. Even Karen's husband showed up, quiet dentist, just nodded at me. Karen sat pale and rigid, trying to hold it together. But the evidence was a tidal wave. I took the stand, told my story. I wasn't angry, just tired. I said, sometimes the loudest people aren't powerful. They're just scared of those who are. When it was over, the jury found Karen guilty on all counts. 4 years probation, 6 months in county jail, banned from every HOA board in Arizona. The HOA itself dissolved. The new community committee voted Greg treasurer and invited me as guest of honor to their first meeting. Lisa brought cupcakes. The new Veterans Community Center opened that summer. My ranch, once a battlefield, became a place for laughter and healing again. Horses in the field, kids at the barn, peace at last. And that photo Karen left, the one with the thread on the back, I kept it. Not as a trophy, but as a reminder. If you stand your ground, speak your truth, and treat people right, the land stands with you. Justice isn't always what you expect, but sometimes karma comes with flashing lights and a judge's gavel. Now, let me ask you this. Where do you draw the line between defending what's yours and letting someone else write your story? Is justice about winning or about finally being able to breathe? Let me know in the comments. Have you ever had to fight for what's right, even when everyone else called you crazy? Share your story, because sometimes the world needs a little more justice and a whole lot more neighbors who aren't afraid to stand tall.